you everybody, coming at you from out in the woods, and we have on camera,
Heyo.
we have Nick. All right, it's always easier and always more fun with Nick around. Today we are going to talk about the big subject of batoning your knife. Some people will, some won't. Some think it's good, some think it's bad, some thinks it won't hurt it. I'm going to show you, we're going to kind of discuss the ins and outs of it, and we're going to build up towards how you can get by without batoning and what's the need for even batoning a knife. So let's just jump right into the subject, and I'm going to hit a lot of different points on this, and it's just a lot of different things for you to think about and little tips and tricks for you to use. All right, so you ready to go, Nick?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go. So what is a knife? A knife is a piece of steel with a cutting edge. What do you do with that cutting edge? You cut, slice, and carve. All right. The basic principles of a knife are, like I said, you can push it in just like that, and that's cutting, that's carving, and then this is slicing. All right. Now, what is batoning? Batoning is where you take the knife and you beat on the knife. Generally, it's accepted that you will do it like this. You'll take a baton or a piece of wood and you will pound the knife into the wood. Just like that. Now, why do we usually do that? All right, there's three reasons for batoning. Well, there's several reasons for batoning, but the three reasons for this video I'm going to tell you before I show you another two methods for batoning. Okay? One of the things that you can do with a knife is not necessarily batoning, but it's an old Morse Kohansky trick, and I think Cody Lundeen showed it on TV. But if you want to cut down a small sapling, like say if you only have a knife and you're in a survival situation and you want to build a shelter and you want to cut down a bunch of green trees, you push the tree over and put it under pressure, and then take the knife and you rock it back and forth as you're pushing it in, as you're pushing it into the tree. Well, now you can't do that with a larger diameter tree. So if you wanted to take a tree down, that's where the batoning came in. And Bear Grylls did this on TV, and I think several other people have done this. But what you would do is, they also call it beaver chewing. And that's where you'll beat the knife in at an angle and beat it in at another angle. And then you'll come around and do here, and then you'll come around in here, and come around here, and you'll eventually be able to take the tree down. Okay, that's another form of batoning. And then we have yet another form of batoning over here. Let's say if you have a dead tree like this, and you wanted to take off some of these branches, and if they were big enough that you couldn't just break them off or kick them off, then you would take your knife and you would beat your knife into it. All right, but like I said, this is a video on how to not baton. So, but those are some of the reasons. But what this video is focused on is the basis for making fire. All right, so we're going to get into that here in a minute, and then we're going to get into the how not to baton your knife methods.
Oh boy.
All right, say, okay, there's tinder, kindling, and fuel. All right, now most of the time when you want to start a fire, you're going to find like some dried leaves or some dried grass or maybe some pine straw, or if you're lucky enough, you'll have birch bark or fat wood. But in a lot of cases, when everything is wet, then that's when you get into batoning, because when you find a piece of wood and everything is wet, you want to get down to the center of that wood, the inside of the wood that's dry. And preferably, there's no reason to ever baton any green wood, as far as I know, especially for fire making. But if you have a saw, you're going to saw you a nice piece of wood, all right? And then you're going to take your knife, and hopefully the dead dry wood you're going to be used for fire making is going to have a natural split in it. And to alleviate some of the pressure and the chance of cracking your knife, you're going to be in line with that first crack. Use that crack to your advantage. And then you just simply pound this through. All right. Now, why would you want to do that? There are three reasons for that. Okay. For one, like I said, if the wood is wet, you want to get down to the center core of the wood where it's dry. And then for the other thing, these edges here, it makes it easier for you to shave off curls for fire lighting. Now if this edge is wet, you can come over to the center and start making curls like that. Now these curls that you're going to be making are going to be very thin and very dry because they're coming from the inside of the wood. All right? And then the other thing is when you initially start a fire, round wood does not catch fire easily, but sharp edges catch fire easily. So if you've got this arranged in a certain pattern, all those sharp edges are going to catch fire much easier than a bunch of round wood. All right, so now that is the basis for this video, is getting to the center of dead dry wood. All right, and if you don't want to beat on your knife that way, then I'm going to show you some methods where you can get around that. All right, for me, I will baton a machete, but there are other methods for, like, if you just have a saw or just have a knife. So let's go take a look at those. First method, what you want to do is, naturally you want to find a piece of wood that is dead and dry and preferably has a crack in it. All right, so I found this piece and it wasn't laying on the ground, it was still leaned up against the tree. So what you want to do is you want to saw halfway down Now the wood can't be rotten because you don't want to be dealing with rotten wood. All right, so you want to saw halfway down all the way to the crack. All right, and then you just want to find a tree and give it a smack against the tree, and hopefully it'll come undone. Right at the base of where that sawed part is, just give it a whack. Wood's better than I thought it was.
Or you'll break another tree down, trying to break it off.
Now this ain't working like I thought it would.
That must be... Who's climbing on us?
Let me swing it. Let me swing it a little bit harder. Wait a minute, let's do this.
Something big was crawling on me, and I don't know what it was.
Now normally this works, but it's got to be a good piece of wood. Let's give it another mark right here.
So, I mean, it looks...
Now I've got a crack right
It looks
in
like
there.
a pretty tough piece of wood, actually.
Yeah, it ain't as rotten as I thought it was. So let's see what happens when we put an extra crack in it. Once again, none of this is pre-planned or staged. This is exactly how this stuff happens with whatever we find in the woods. Now, let's give this a shot.
I thought I heard a crack. Oh.
Alright, so what do we do here? Alright, now there's a small piece. How this didn't break, I don't know. But that did break out.
Oh yeah, that came pretty good.
Yeah, that one broke out. This is still really good solid wood. So now let's try another method. Alright, we got one more method that we're going to try with this. Alright, the next thing you want to do is you want to either saw or cut a piece at an angle, just like this. Alright, just like that. Now, that last method where I sawed part of it and beat it on a tree, half the time it works and half the time it doesn't work. But I couldn't find the perfect wood this time, but it does work. So now let's take this piece right here that we had the little piece come off of, and let's put this in the crack. All right, just like this. A lot of people make real elaborate wedges, but they don't have to be real elaborate. And so you can just beat right through just like that.
Yeah, it worked a lot better than the other.
Yeah, that does work a lot better. All right, and then sometimes what you can do is you can take two wedges if you don't want to beat them in, and you can put the two wedges in and go in different directions. Okay, let me grab that piece of wood. Let me grab that. Let's see if that works on that same piece of wood. It may not work. Let's see if we can do it without sawing. Let me cut this a little bit sharper. And you're just constantly sharpening these pieces. Now these wedge pieces need to be out of green wood. So let's see if we can put this in here and give this a whack. Give this a whack. Now we're gonna have to beat them in. It ain't gonna pry apart.
We saw what beating it against the tree did.
Look at that. Now it's starting to. Once I've got some depth in there.
Shouldn't you just beat it in further?
Yeah, probably should. That method doesn't always work.
Well, this is still working way better than the others. The last one we just did. Because, I mean,
there we go.
Look how much more of the log you're actually splitting.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Look at the length you're getting here.
Yeah.
It's going back there to the bark.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, at this point, just taking it, rip it in half.
Yeah. All right. See, now, let's say this outside's dry. And see, now you're in the core right here. So you can make curls out of the center of the wood. Do you hear that bug?
Yeah, there's
Oh man, look at it. You got that on camera?
There we go.
Anyway.
Where's it at?
It's right there. So anyway,
I was sitting here I was wanting to film that, but I figured that would be kind of a waste of camera time. And then it just stayed there watching us. So I decided, oh, hi.
I hate those things. All right.
Is that a tongue?
I don't know.
Oh God.
They must be. So anyway, there's the insides right there now. So you've got these two insides right here. Okay. So that's that on that. Now I'm going to show you another trick with these things right here. All right. We have a pretty decent example over here. Let's go take a look. See that tree laying on the ground right there? That's something that you would want to avoid. Now them two trees over there, there's about 6 inches off the ground. So those might be dry because air can go under them. But what we're looking at right here is a survivalist dream because it is a dead, still standing tree. All right. Now, if everything is wet, everything is raining, okay, one of the methods you can do, cut you a couple of wedges, all right, and then what you can do is this tree has a natural crack. You're probably going to have to come around between these now. All right, you see that crack right there? So what we're going to do is on this freestanding tree, I'm going to saw to that crack like that, and then like this. All right, I got a saw here and a saw here to that crack. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my wedge and I'm going to put it down near the saw.
Oh, that's another tough one.
Yeah. Well, that's good. You don't want rotten wood.
It's shifting, but barely.
Let's put both of them in. They won't stay in. Now that's actually breaking the wedge. That's good wood. So let's saw it. A little more. I got to make sure I'm in half. Let's try it again down at the bottom. There we go. And there you go. See that? You got nice dry wood right here. All right. So then you just take this And you're going to start on the edge, and you're going to make your curls.
Yeah, and then you can leave the rest of the logs standing so that you can surprise some hiker wandering through here. They can wonder what in the world happened to this.
All right, now let's try another method. All right, so that's pretty neat. That does work. As you can see, the reason it was so hard to do is because half of this is, look at the end where I sawed. It's dead, it's dry, but it is not rotten. Okay, you're going to get really good shavings. And you could, believe me, if you were like under a tarp or under a poncho or a raincoat, you could spend 20 minutes and turn this whole thing into a pile of shavings. And once you've had a mountain of shavings, you could light it with a ferro rod or a lighter, and then just start piling on all the stuff that's damp or wet, and it'll dry and then catch on fire. All right, one more method.
My friend's still over here.
Why is he so attracted to our stuff?
I don't know. Earlier he was watching us.
I don't want to swat at him. Look, that's a piece of wood I cut. All right, now come over here a minute, Nick.
Keeps sticking its tongue out at me.
That is so weird. All right, for the next method, what you
Oh, he
want
left.
is, now you can find a sharp rock, but sharp rocks sometimes explode, and sometimes you can't always find a sharp rock. So what you want to do is you want to sharpen the end of a piece of wood, just like that. Then, what you want to do is you want to cut it short. Let's set this right here. You want to cut that thing short and flat. Now remember, a silky saw cuts on the full stroke. I'm very gently going forward, but I'm pushing down as I'm pulling. Here, let me move that. All right, there we go. All right, see, now that would be hard to carve by hand, that short. That's why you carve it first, and then you use it. All right, so you want to find a rock, because a rock works better than a log, because sometimes a log will bounce. Now, when you're batoning this stuff, okay, you do not want to baton this way, because it'll destroy this. You find the natural split in the wood, and you set that on the end, just like that. And then you beat it. Now this is after you've got your piece sawed with a crack in it. See, that was very easy.
Yeah, every method you're showing is just easier and easier.
Oh yeah, it is.
Well, except the last one with the standing tree.
Right.
The first one had to be the absolute worst.
Yeah. Well,
sawing it and then beating it against a tree.
Oh yeah. Well,
it's got to be the worst.
It's got to be the perfect piece of wood. There can be no rot whatsoever. The entire wood has to be good wood, and then you can hit it very, very, very hard. You can rear back like a baseball bat. But part of that was rotten. That's why I didn't do it. Now for the last part, you don't want to beat it like this once again. You want to beat it like this. Now when you do it this method, since there's no natural crack, you're depending on this to separate the natural fibers. Just like that.
So it did.
Yeah, it does split. You see the color of the wood here? The natural crack was here, and then this was here. All right. Now see how it kind of messed it up a little bit?
You just top it off.
Yeah, you just top it off like that. And just give it a little bit of a sharp thing. Now you got to hit fast and hard, very, very fast. You can't dilly-dally with it. You have to just really, really hit it. I mean really hit it. And it's like you're shocking the wood. See that crack that I just formed?
Mm-hmm.
And see, this has got to be green wood. All right, so that's another good method right there. And then, you know, like I say, once you're here, you don't ever want to carve on a rock. Once you're here, you can take some of this stuff and set it up so you got a place to catch your shavings. But then say the very, very center of the wood. See. There you go. There's your shavings for firelight. All right. Now, those are my methods for non-knife batoning. And now I'm fixing to show you my theory on not batoning at all. Does that make sense?
Sure.
All right, so let's do some, we got some splaining to do. This is for the method for not batoning at all, for if you want to get to the center of wood or some dry shaving. All right, now, bear with me on this, okay? If you take a knife and you don't baton, and you just take a piece of wood, it'll take you forever to get down to the core and to get a lot of these, to get past the wet and get down to the core of the log. Now, this is the part where you gotta bear with me. About 15 years ago, there was a YouTube channel named Cole Hain, and it was Dave McIntyre. He was the season 2 winner of Alone. He showed on video how you take an Ontario machete, and right here, this section is not ground, he put a Scandi grind. Now that Scandi grind is so that you can put a bunch of pressure right here, because the normal chopping edge of a machete is somewhere around 30 or 35 degrees, and then a fine edge of between 20, 22, 24 will do a good job of carving, but it won't hold up for chopping. Now, about a year after that, Dave Canterbury showed on his video how to do that. So once he did it, I decided on this one, this is a K-bar kukri. This has got a regular chopping edge. Well, I put a very fine edge on here that would not hold up good for chopping. And that thing does good for making little bitty curls. All right. So then I thought to myself, I took it a step further. Then I took this machete and I experimented by putting 25 degrees on one side and 22 on the other side. See how wide that angle looks right here?
You wrote on a good machete?
Well, it's just a magic marker. And see, I did that because I wanted to see how well that would grind, that would cut. Now see, that'll whip up some nice shavings, okay? Now, a little more background on this. This is a chopping edge, okay? This is useless for chopping. So I don't understand why all manufacturers didn't start doing this. Well, sure enough, Tarava Scramma did. You see this little bitty section from here to here? Several years back, they made from here to here, your chopping part, 30 something degrees, 34 maybe. And then they made this little edge 25, so you could use it for chopping. So you can carve. See, look at that. Look at that nice curl. Now recently, up until then, Tarava was the only one that did it, but recently Condor has come out with a machete that they've put that little Scandi feature on. Well, I got to thinking the other day, how about a chisel grind? How about almost nothing on the back side and a very major 25 degrees on the front side? Well, rather than ruin an expensive machete, I took this is a pretty cheap charade parang, and they left, this is where the factory grind stopped. And so I put this 25 degrees on here, and I put 2 degrees on the back side. And that thing right there just rips up wood. Now this is a concave grind. Now a concave grind, if you try to cut with it like this, it just, did you hear that? The U.S. Forestry's unloading their equipment. We got to hurry up, okay? Because I knew they were coming today. But anyway, this right here, see, this just kind of glides along. But this, look at that. That thing will cut. That thing cuts like a draw knife. And the harder you push, the more it digs in.
Don't they know that clearing trees you use machetes, not whatever they're using?
I don't know.
We had a storm a while back and it covered up a lot of the trails out here.
Yeah.
So they're trying to clear them all.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna show you a couple examples of these. Let's walk over here. I saw some dead trees over here. Now you don't want nothing laying on the ground, but I'm gonna show you something real quick with these, okay? Let's walk over here. What you want to do is you want to find a dead dry tree that's kind of leaned up, or you can lean it up, all right? And maybe take off some of the branches around here. Now let's try the very, very fine edge of this 25, 22 degree. Let's see what it'll do. And you kind of support it with your leg. And see, this is better than a knife because you're using two hands. All right, now, that thing,
Yikes.
it's kind of skittering a little bit.
Well, the bouncy log doesn't help.
Yeah, it doesn't help, but I am getting wood. Now,
well, you're progressively getting more curls out of it.
Yeah, okay, now, so let's try this. This is just like a wood chisel. Let's see how that does.
Looks like there's less struggle with that one.
Yeah, I think there is. And so you can force it like that, just like a push knife or a draw knife. All right, and see, you could keep doing that and you could wind up with a bunch of curls. Now let's go over here and look at this one. Let's see how this one does.
Wow, there was some bloom right here. Oh, wow. Yeah, they better hurry up over there. One of our good filming spots is over there.
I know, I'm glad that they're coming to film clear them trails.
There's some stuff that might take quite a while for a machete.
Man, that is a tough tree. Let's see how this one does.
Why do you keep getting tough trees for the video?
I don't know. I guess because I'm not staging anything. I'm using what's out there. Man.
Well, I mean, if that one didn't really do it, then the other one wouldn't.
How about this one on the ground? Let's try this one. Let's try this one.
I feel like that's going to be just as tough.
I don't know. Let's see.
The sun is shining on
This is not a hardwood. This is a pine. Let's see. I'm getting through that damp exterior. Yeah, I'm having to push on that pretty hard. Let's try this one. Look at that.
You know, we should try to light this up, actually.
Might could. Alright, well, that's it. Alright, they're on their way. We gotta wrap this up. Alright.
You see them through the woods? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those John Deere Bobcat looking things that's got the tracks.
So, I mean, we're on the outskirts now.
Yeah. We made it to the top of the hill. And I guess that's where he's going, over the hill to where the trees are falling across the trail.
I didn't know there was any this way.
Yeah, I think it goes up there to the left. I know this doesn't, this
Not in
messes
bad
up the,
trees.
this is messes up the scenery of the video, but
It was so peaceful.
yeah, so tasteful, but we're happy they're here.
The birds were chirping, the squirrels were happy.
Yeah. Alright, so I got this piece stabbed in the ground, and I got this against my stomach. We're going to see if we can make some more shavings here and keep them attached to the log.
Those are some big shavings.
Yeah, they are. I don't know if a ferro rod will strike them or not. I just made this edge, and so it probably needs some tweaking. All right, now the idea is to leave them attached to the log. Let's see if we can line them right here on the log.
And then we started a wildfire and filmed it. There's an ant crawling up your pants.
Hate ants. Now you want to turn it upside down. Have to make sure and stomp that out. Look at that. See, that's how you do it right there.
What, make a forest fire?
Yeah.
Smokey the
Now
Bear
let's
hates
see
you.
what little bit of curls that I had. Let's see how long that they burn. Now, like I said, this is a video about how to not baton your knife. Well, if this video is directed towards shavings and getting to the center of dry wood and fire starting. And so these are my methods. Now see, that amount of curls right there, the curls you can make with a knife can be a lot thinner, but you can make really, really serious curls with this thing. See, they're still going.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to dump water on this side.
Yeah. Let's get rid of all this. Alright. Make sure all this is out. I hope you had fun. Hope you learned a few things. I hope this video makes you think about all the different methods of ways of getting to the center of wood. And like I say, with wet wood, you don't want rotten wood, you want dead, dry wood. And if everything's wet and everything's raining and you're wanting to get to the center of the wood, these are the methods. Or if you just want to make shavings, modify your machete. All right, there's different ways of doing it. When I first did that charade, this thing worked a lot better at home. But see, I think it's already gotten dull. Here, show a close up of that. So it's like 25 degrees on one side, and it's like 2 degrees on the other. Alright, so that is it. Hope you had fun, hope you learned something. Get out, experiment, play around with these things. All wood is different. Sometimes these methods work great, sometimes they don't work at all. Just get out and spend some time in the woods and find you some trees and beat on them and make wedges and carve on them.
Yep.
Anything you want to add, Nick?
Hopefully a bulldozer does not interrupt the peaceful nature.
That's right.
Hopefully the beeping does not bother you.
That's right. All right. Take it easy, live life, enjoy it, and we shall see you in the next one.
See you later.
There you go. Just like that. Man, that is tough wood. See this rock. Try that again. That's how it's done.